Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and on Tabletop Games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today are what we like to call a pre-stream, otherwise known as me trying to get things to work properly. Last Saturday I managed to go over everything and we determined who won. I did consult the tiebreaker, my e-boy friend, and he gave me the objective answer. And with that objective answer, we have our three main ones. We have our three, the games that have defined us. The first one is we're going to be doing something called Midnight Anima, which is Dark Souls, but not. I'll go into that one a little bit more. It's going to be a weird one. Also, hello, Charismatic Canine. The second one is Project Sidewinder, which is a jet fighter RPG, which, weirdly enough, there aren't actually many of these. Probably the most popular, plane fighter game is probably Warbirds. I think that's probably, is that Warbirds? Is that the name of the game? Yeah, right here, Warbirds. This is probably one of the more popular ones. However, this mostly focuses on things like World War II planes and things like that. So I want to see what I can do, because I can. There, you can see here's the Jet Age book. See, look. I did go over some of Outrider's stuff before, notably Remnants. I think the system is fine. It's kind of a weird system, though. So, yeah, you kind of see... Yeah, so I'm like, let's see what I can do on my own, because I'm that kind of guy, and I hate everything. The tiebreaker was Pojedenie Kobiet, actually, if I need to bring this up properly, because I can never pronounce this. I can never type this out. Yeah, Pojedenie Kobiet. Technically, if I remember the full... Let me see if I can remember the full fucking thing, because it's a there's a very specific name for it. Hi, this is also my my Patreon. Make sure you follow this. Wink to camera. We'll go here. There we go. Here's the full name, just so I have it. Pojedenie Kruna Sukenchi. I believe that's how you pronounce it, which is literally just the women's duel, blood on the dress. That's literally all it says, because I am creatively bankrupt. This is actually going to be a Redux project, which is kind of its own beautiful disaster area. I have hope. But yeah, these are the 3 games that got selected. No war games this time around, so if you were hoping for war games, why didn't you vote for them? But generally speaking, these are going to be the 3 that we're going to be working on for the next, probably, next while. Now, one of the big things I wanted to do with these 3 games, and the thing that I was going to kind of focus on a lot more than I think in other games, democracy has failed us again. What I was going to plan on doing anyway was... I want to go heavy on the theme. Now, what does that actually mean, heavy on the theme? Effectively, I want to make these games incredibly thematic. I want to make these... I want to go 150% on these games, even if the gameplay suffers for it. I'm willing to sacrifice raw gameplay in exchange to keep the thematics alive, to go 100% on the theme of the game. Am I confident this will work out flawlessly and everything's going to work out great? I don't know. I genuinely do not know, but I can sure as hell try. Oh god, fingers hurt, cracking my knuckles. But that's kind of the plan so far. So what we need to do today is effectively, I want to get like the basics down, just to have something in place rather than anything. Because it's always good to have something. That's always my my philosophy. This is my Miro document, as you can see. This has ideas and stuff all over it. Over here, we have Utopia Wars, which is a Lancer game that I didn't put on there this time because I'm working on another one. 100 Lotus Blaze. It's there. I don't know how I want to handle it yet. Angel 69, I need to finish it. I have a lot of the stuff worked out. I just need to do more stuff with it to make it prettier. Now here is Midnight Anima. Now Midnight Anima is most likely not going to be the final name. I can tell you that right fucking now. It is not going to be the final name. Because I'm going to give you a secret about Dark Souls. Dark Souls is not a complicated game. And I think let's actually look. So like Dark Souls TTRPG, which ones pop up? Well, we have the Steam Forged games, the $50 one, which is they're basing it off of 5e. They're basing it off of Dungeons and Dragons, the 5th edition. That's what they want to do, and that's how they're going to do it. That's what they want you to do. Because they know, and the thing is, here's my thing. I don't blame these guys for doing this. Like, you know, I'm not... I'm not going to be like, well, these guys are bad and wrong. Also, they're shipping a free PDF. That's going to be pirated out immediately. What I'm going to say is that this was a very tactical decision on their part because they wanted to make some dosh. Let's see. Oh, didn't mean to click on that. Let's do careers. Do they have any careers open? Let's actually see. I want to open this up in a new tab. Let's see. Do you have any guys in here? What jobs do they have? A project manager. Alright, yeah, nothing much. But yeah, these guys make a lot of stuff like that. They already made the board game, they made the card game. It was a natural extension that they're going to make a role-playing game or something like that. I am going to blame these guys. That's not fair to them. Because this is what they do. This is their business model. However, let's see. Let's do Souls-like TTRPG. Let's see what Souls-like games are there. Souls-like TTRPGs. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, vape gamers, let's just go through some Souls-likes. In my opinion, it's impossible to translate Dark Souls mechanics into a TTRPG because it's at the core a rhythm game with incredibly little RNG. It means that the moment the player knows the pattern, they are unbeatable. I'll get to that in a second. I have my explanation for that. But yeah, these are some of the like Souls-like TTRPGs people have like put out. And you get things like Dice Souls here, which is pretty much all about zero prep Souls-like dungeon exploration game, procedurally generated world filled with traps, monsters, and unbelievable bosses. The demo level, which is like okay, interesting. Or you have things like Runecairn here. Runecairn, I actually read through this game. Yeah, the entire idea is that you have to go through, oh, I'm going through this, and I have to link the shrines. And once I link the shrines, I can die, but only when important enemies die as the remainder. Everyone else respawns. Give you a hint. This is not what you're supposed to fucking do. This is the wrong option. You can also get it for free. And if anyone, actually I should say, if anyone needs it, all I'm saying is, as fellow gamers, we're the most marginalized people. That's all I'm saying. As a gamer, you own this tabletop game. I have no soul. But yeah, you see a lot of these like, oh, well, it's this, or this is what defines Dark Souls. This is Dark Souls. I'm gonna give you a secret. Yeah, a really nasty secret about what Dark Souls is at its core. Dark Souls, at its very core, is a line going straight up. So, what do I mean by this is a line? What do I mean by Dark Souls is a line? Pretty much, you're going to have the start. You're going to have the start of the zone or the start of the level, and you're going to have the end. And you're going to have the end. The end, which is usually a boss fight. It's astounding, I know. It's almost like people have been making games like this for literal years at this point, Wow, everybody, fucking Mario is in fact Dark Souls inspired. You never knew that this NES game, that fucking, Pac-Man was in fact Dark Souls inspired. It's truly astounding. It's like how jazz music was somehow invented by Persona 5. It's truly an astronomical thing that we've never seen before. Because here's the thing. Dark Souls is a game about going from the start of the level to the end of the level. However, it does this very smart. What it says is, here are little branches. It wants you to go on these little branches. It wants you to look at them, and it wants you to, talk about things. It wants you to explore these little parts. Sometimes these branches leads off to different locations. And so on. Because at the end of every single one of these little paths, these little branches, you're going to get rewarded with something. Because every node, you're going to get a bonfire. You might get a bonfire right here. You started the level, you've made your way in there, you've touched your bonfire. That's a checkpoint. A checkpoint. Like we've had in games for years at that point. Checkpoints aren't these brand new things we've never seen before. For fuck's sake, it is like, oh, well, they've never done a limited checkpoint system before. Resident Evil would like to call. This is a very gameplay-focused idea. But the next one may be right here. So you have to do this big-ass slog to get through there. However, this is where things get a little bit interesting. You learn very quickly that if you hit here, if you go here to this path, it'll do a shortcut down here. And then next time you play, if you were to die somewhere, you can pop out from this one, go here, and skip ahead. Cool, I've gained something. But if you go down this path right here, well, speak of the devil. You've got a brand new item. We like item. We got a brand new item. There's an NPC down there giving us something. It's a way to complete a quest. We've received something for exploring. But what you do when you get that item is that you turn around and go back. Then you hit the first checkpoint. Then you hit the next checkpoint, and then you go to the end. It's a very simplistic structure. Because the entire idea is your mom is the Dark Souls of women. Nah, that's the fucking... Those are the scary black women who always compliment me on my hair. They are the Dark Souls of women. Jesus. Nice women, don't get me wrong, but God, like you just round a corner like, hello, Leia. Hello. Hello, honey, how you doing? And they will just make a beeline. It's like, oh God. Horrifying. But that is at its core what Dark Souls is. A roll dodge is not Dark Souls. A roll dodge is because the game designers said, we need a way to stop them from getting immediately murked by these enemies. Okay, we're going to give them a dodge move. Yeah, like a lot of other games at that point. There were a lot of games with a dodge move. They were not the first ones to invent it. Devil May Cry would like to show up. But we have a dodge move. Okay. Well, it has you have to have a stamina bar in it. No. Stamina bar is a way to restrict you from spamming. We need to have a stamina bar in there to make sure you do not spam your attacks and invalidate a fight, or to make sure you don't, roll dodge everywhere and invalidate this thing we want to do. That's the point. We want to restrict the player so they don't break it. Well, it's this gothic horror. What do you... Please tell me. Let's think about this. From Software was known for 3 things, mostly. They were known for Kingsfield, which is a relatively dark fantasy-esque adventure, fantasy adventure. They were known for Armored Core, which was a giant mech game. And they were known for horror games. Wow. let's do an amazing fucking revelation about what Dark Souls is. It's a dark fantasy adventure. Wow! I would have never thought. So it makes complete sense why it's gothic. Because this is what the company knew. You combine everything together with a good presentation. An Estus Flask is not Dark Souls. An Estus Flask is a healing potion because the game designers damn well know you're going to get hit by an attack because these things are big. You can't reduce the damage at all because if you reduce the damage of Dark Souls, it's useless. The actual threat of the game is reduced to nothingness. So you can't do that. So when people say it's a rhythm game, yeah, it's not entirely accurate. Well, I have seen someone beat the game with a DDR mat and official, mind you, official Donkey Kong bongos. It's not a rhythm game necessarily. It is, however, a game of pure mechanics. It is a purely mechanical game, and that is a very Japanese thing to do. Nothing wrong with that. Very mechanical focused. You could paint thinner the entirety of Dark Souls, and you would realize, even if it was only white, zero texture wireframes, the game would still hold up incredibly well. And it would do that because the gameplay is what makes Dark Souls Dark Souls. And it was built from the ground up to have 2 thumbsticks, have all the things on the computer, have all your keyboard option. It was built to be a video game. The music swells, it's when you're supposed to be kind of frightened. The music drips during the slow plotting. The fact that you can turn your camera and see what's around there, it wants you to do that. The fact that it kind of zooms in a little bit, the way it holds back, the way that you die constantly and you're brought back at a checkpoint. This is not like some amazing revelation that was brand new and no one had ever thought of before. Dark Souls just did it really well. Demon Souls more specifically. It just did it really well and played to its strengths. People, they knew how to make these kind of games, so they're going to make it. What Midnight Anima has to do, and one of the big things about this, is Midnight Anima has to take this very video game boss fight, kind of this very video game focused mechanics and ideas, and scrap it all. It can't have it. Because tabletop games are not like that. You can think of a tabletop game as a circle. You can think of like a tabletop game as a circle. While you may have, players inside of the circle, inevitably the players can go in any direction they... God damn it. Inevitably, the players can go in any of the direction they want to. If the players want to go this direction, they can. If the players want to go this direction, they can. If the players want to loop around on themselves constantly, they can. Because the player has that freedom. And a video game is not going to account for the fact that someone wants to sneak behind the enemy and throw a rock at them to distract them so they can slip around them. Because Dark Souls, the video game, says, no, you're not supposed to do that, and we're not going to give you that option. Tabletop, the only thing restricting you, at the end of the day, is you. The players, and the imagination, and the systems present. Which is a very long story about D&D, but at the end of the day, that is what we need to think about. We can't think of the Dark Souls, the video game, when you're transferring it over. Because if you think about just Dark Souls, the video game, then every single game is going to be Estus Flask. We need to have, when we die, we need to respawn at a checkpoint of some sort. We have to recover our souls when we die at all time. Every time we have to recover our souls, obviously, because the video game did that. We have to have these big grandiose boss fights. And the big grandiose boss fights have to have a rhythm of some sort to them. They have to have, you know, there has to be these big telegraphed attacks, because that's what Dark Souls did. It has a big telegraphed attack because you have a fucking camera and you're going 9 miles an hour, and it is a video game. And it's visual, you can see it. Even the board game does that because it's a board game and you can clearly see right in front of you what's going on. Tabletop games are very different. It's a different perspective, a different idea that you can't as easily adapt. So what we need to do is we need to not think video game adaptation. We can't think that way, because if you think that way, things are going to go wrong. Because the big idea, if you were to make this, again, this is going to be my theory, is the main thing is the gameplay loop. What is the actual A to B to C that we are doing? The actual A to B to C is the most important part. Everything else doesn't matter. You can have the most happy-go-lucky adventure in the entire world, and you can still call it a Souls-like. Doesn't fucking matter. Does not matter. All that matters is that the gameplay loop is primarily focused on exploration, leading to a boss fight. That is what Dark Souls is at the end of the day. However, because again, we've proven before you can do different things in the world. It's proven that you can make a different kind of Dark Souls that isn't necessarily. A lot of people would be I feel a lot of people would disagree with you and would be shitting in their pants right now. Probably. Makes it so difficult. The boss that telegraphs the players can do the correct action to avoid it once they do the untouchable. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't think about that. When you're adapting over, you can't have that medium in there, because you want to know, like, someone can do everything perfectly in Dark Souls and still die to something because they did, you know, they rolled at the right time, but they rolled in the wrong direction. They get flattened. Then they respawn back and they're in the fight 5 minutes later trying again. They know in their head, they're sitting there like, okay, that boss fight took me 10 minutes to do. I died because I made a bad call. I'm going to do this, but I'm going to save 2 of my health potions this time. I'm fine. I've saved my health pots. Now we're going into this fight. I can dodge better. I know when things are going to happen. I'm not going to take that early hit this time, and I'm going to do it. You need to think tabletop. You have to build this game from the beginning. And of course, people are going to disagree with me on this, because people have already written their Dark Souls tabletop game. However, they keep adapting Dark Souls to the tabletop. Just use limits. Shut the fuck up, Ironside. Shut the fuck up. However, personally, I don't think I could do this. My mind is just not there. I can't put myself in the right headspace to do this right, because I am a very mechanical man. And I'm kind of set in my ways, and I said to myself, I already know what I want to make. I said, no, bad. I said, bad, Notepad. You're doing this wrong. You're thinking wrong. You got to think clearly. You got to go back. You got to design Dark Souls, the tabletop RPG, from the start. You can't design it. You can't just port over Dark Souls, the video game, because again, as you've said, K9, people are going to find out that it's a rhythm game, that it's about telegraphed attacks. You can't do that necessarily as easily in tabletop, unless you make some significant changes to the formula, or you make some drastic, mechanical differences. So, I couldn't do it. So I came up with another person. Someone that a fictional person that I could bounce an idea off of. Less thinking, what would Notepad Anon do? And more, what would he do? And so I came up with Kenji Oyumai. Kenji wrote a game 20 years ago, Midnight Anima. What was he inspired by? He was inspired by Sword World First Edition. Came out in 1989. His first RPG that he fell in love with. He also was inspired a little bit by Call of Cthulhu, very popular at that time. But he was also a Dragon Quest fan. He loved Western fantasy. This is where he's building everything off of. 1989, we also have Berserk, the Golden Age arc, most specifically. This is something that he's been invested in, something he knows and something he enjoys, which leads to King's Field 1. 13 days after PS1 launch, Kenji's in on it. He loves it, and a year later, he would put out the first edition of this game. Because when I said I was going to have to make a King's Field RPG to make the Dark Souls RPG, I wasn't lying. I had to think about it. What would this game be? This is a man built from this era. Because Dark Souls does not exist. Elden Ring does not exist without King's Field 1. That does not exist. King's Field 1 does not exist without a lot of different things leading up to that point. That's the idea. That's the problem. So if you have a game based around these core concepts, we can now start. You understand what this game is going to look like. This is someone who has invested a lot of time into very specific games. His first RPG on the PS1 is King's Field, and he's in it. He adores it. It's an adult game for someone who's been a kid. However, this leads to second edition in 2008. Demon Souls is released. He wants to redo his entire game. We have some more. By 2008, the Japanese RPG sphere has been not necessarily codified, but it now makes sense. There are things in the Japanese RPG sphere which makes sense. He's also gotten older at this point, and she's a 32 at this point. And because he's this old, he's now thinking different. He doesn't have time. We've got to adapt some of those new Japanese RPG designed philosophies. We're going to have to make this scenario based. We're going to have to make this a lot of front-loaded character design. We're going to need to think as a Japanese developer in 2008. Which in 2009 is when things like Shinobigami came out. When the psycho-fiction guys. This is when a lot of games kind of started popping up that were pushing the envelope in a few different ways. But we know what he likes. We know what this game is going to be, which leads to the third edition, which is the Dark Souls one. 2011, 2014, 2016. These are his things, but he can't play as much. Everything has been streamlined. It is faster, it is deadlier, it is quicker, because he wants to play more and more and more, but he doesn't have the time to do it. He's in his 40s. This is a man who's been writing this thing on and off for years. But he still wants to play. And he's inspired by these games, he knows these games, and he references them a lot, but he wants to make his own thing. Which is going to lead to what we're going to be writing, which is the unofficial 4th edition of this fictional game written by this fictional person. Which is going to be, effectively, inspired by Elden Ring. Now, this may seem like a complete fucking autism project, but I needed to think. I couldn't just think me. I needed to think differently. So I came up with a fictional person. A fictional human being who knew exactly what he wanted and was going to make it. And things are different. Things feel different. Because again, we're dealing with someone who likes the hero. Because this is my theory, anyway. Kind of going through this. And he's a regular dude, doing what he always loved. Now, my theory is this. my idea, this is like my base kind of concept, is that we're not going strictly like this, you know, gothic fantasy, nightmare sadness. No, we're not doing gothic fantasy, nightmare sadness. Because, again, we gotta think, Sword World was actually relatively high fantasy. It was kind of in that class fantasy early D&D, because that's what it was directly inspired by. Dragon Quest is possibly the friendliest fucking game series available. But it has some odd undertones to things. That's the point. It's supposed to be for, you know, when you're playing it as a kid, you're like, oh, okay, I'm the hero, I'm gonna do things, I'm gonna stab the bad guy with my sword, and I'm gonna feel good because I saved the day, I'm a hero. And I have my friends, and we're gonna use the power of friendship to defeat villains. However, when you play it as an adult, you see some of the deeper things with it. You're like, oh, this is about loss. Hey, this is about, you know, not knowing. This is about, you know, striving to be a better person, striving to do this, blah, 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 blah. And there's a couple other early 90s RPGs out there that kind of played on the same idea. But the big one, and I didn't think about this initially, was Berserk. 1989 is when Berserk first launched. By 1994, we were in the middle of the Golden Age arc. For those who don't know Berserk, Golden Age was the arc of arcs. This was actually a fairly big thing for a lot of people of Berserk. Because this is when we learned a lot more about Griffith. We learned about the Band of Hawk. We learned, yeah, Golden Age arc feels good, man. Because we had those first two arcs of learning about Guts. But now we're learning more about all the characters. We learn about all the problems. It's a grim world. But you have these heroes in the middle of it. Like, man, shit's bad. Like, we're fighting our lives. People are dying. It's so awful. But people are still heroic. People are good. People are nice to each other. People are fighting tooth and nail against evil. Especially when you consider Golden Age arc could have been very different. Because one of the things that Berserk did so fucking well, the thing that Berserk did so astronomically perfect in a variety of ways, was that Berserk presented Guts as an interesting character. Because if you really think about it, without those first two chapters, without those first few things of introducing who Guts is as a character, you know, kind of his backstory, his problems, the way he views people and views things, we have Griffith, the hero, and the band, you know, and the Band of Hawk, his loyal friends, and don't forget Griffith's best friend and stalwart companion, Guts. In any other worse fantasy thing, Guts would be a secondary character, maybe at best a dragonist. And he's the one who at the very end, who's right in the middle of the manga, dies heroically protecting the hero from a villain. That's where the hero goes sicko mode and he has to save the day. But that didn't happen. Because we knew about Guts. We knew Griffith was the hero, which eventually led to the end of Golden Age arc, which led to the eclipse. But during this time, 1995, 1994, the eclipse had not happened yet. We have Berserk, middle of the Golden Age arc. It's grim but hopeful. There's a better future happening. But we're seeing things from a different perspective. We're not seeing it through what we would traditionally have as a protagonist viewpoint. We're seeing it through, in any other world, a secondary character. We're seeing it through Guts' eyes. And because Guts is the way he is, we've shaped everything. Because the big idea, the way I see it anyway, is that, quote, Midnight Anima is the best way to kind of word it is we're fucked. The original version would be we're fucked but hopeful. setting. Because, again, Dragon Quest, oh no, we have to defeat the skeletons. When you're a kid, you don't think about killing the skeletons, but Kingsfield 1, the skeletons pop out of the ground. They're gonna fuck your day up, man. They're gonna fuck your day up. And then you think about it a little bit more. Well, I was scared of skeletons when I was a kid in Dragon Quest. The skeletons were gonna kill me because I was playing this game. I'm scared of them again in Kingsfield 1 after not being afraid of them for so long because they're gonna kill me. That's the idea. We play on things that are already present. Because effectively, how I want to kind of portray this setting is, what if the hero failed? That's kind of the basic idea. What if in a Dragon Quest-esque world, the hero failed? The hero was never was there. Things have gotten worse. The Dark Lord is ever present. We're trying to we're fucked. But maybe things will get better. Not necessarily like Dark Souls, kind of like well, we're at the end of things and we're all gonna die. That's not the point. What we want to do is we want to portray things as hopeful, but kind of fucked. Mechanically speaking, is that originally, he would have to be playing things like Sword World 1E. Notably, what I think by that is that he would be using a 2d6 system, but he would also want Call of Cthulhu because it's a dark game and we're adults. Kids don't play that, we're adults. I'm 20 years old and a fucking idiot. Of course I'm playing adult TM games. So, I was also thinking of adding a 1d100 system to it. Most notably a pretty much 2d6 for like an attribute checks. For attributes, add a 1d100 for skills, which is kind of the idea of you have attributes, you're going to be having skills, so it's like, oh, well, I need to attack somebody. You want to roll your dice, you want to roll 2d6 to attack them, because it's an attribute check. But I need to identify something. Well, you're going to consult one of your D100. You're going to consult one of your skills to do that. Exactly, and this is what I think what this would be, because people have this bad tendency of thinking like Dark Souls is completely hopeless. That it's this grim, dark nightmare world with no hope in it. And the thing is, to a degree, sometimes it is. It is kind of a scary world. But that's not the point. The point is that you are struggling to fix things. It's an uphill journey, and you're gonna probably get your ass kicked, but it's rewarding. That's the point. This also gives us gameplay things to worry about. Because we're doing this, because we have this, we can now play on something. We can play on a death system. Yes, because when I said one of the most important things is that we have to revel in death. We want to die, and we also don't want to. Because nobody wants to die in a tabletop game. That's not as satisfying. And early on here, no one would want to do this either. Because if you died, you lose. You have to get set back. You have to go to where you saved last. Yeah, it's a lose. You are a failure. The villain won. But by the time we hit Demon Souls, we have the idea of, you're going to be able to come back to life constantly. So what I was thinking of is the initial version is just this. He took two of his favorite things, smashed them together, wrote like 3 paragraphs of lore, submitted it to a magazine, and it got published. People seem to like it. This is my thing. It's Dragon Quest, but for adults. That's how he would pitch it. Demon Souls comes around, the 2nd edition. This is where we start getting mechanics like this. And my idea was skill loss. Skill loss versus attribute game. You're getting stronger raw, but you're getting worse off kind of more specifically. That's how I was thinking of in my head anyway. You die, you're going to lose some skills. You're going to lose like just a flat amount off your skills, but you may be able to gain an attribute or two. With the idea being that you're losing more of yourself by virtue of as you keep dying, because we can put in something stupid like that. I don't know. I'm literally kind of throwing shit at the wall currently with this one. And because again, if you apply that the fact that Dark Souls is entirely mechanical in nature, then death is not really like this big punishment. Death should be something very different. Now, by this point, by the theoretical 3rd edition, at this point, we've added in... I'm going to put... Now, by the theoretical 3rd edition... No. We're adding in more along with the... We need to streamline and speed up. Now, what I was thinking about doing is probably something more along the line of guaranteed actions. Kind of bring into that... I'm always going to misspell this. I don't know why I keep doing it. Guaranteed. Yeah, guaranteed actions with a little bit more of the idea that you're spending a resource or you're spending time to do something for certain. You will hit the enemy. However, is that really what you want to do? Is that really like the best thing you could think about doing right this moment? Because it's probably not. Yeah, unaliving themselves. Yeah, that's Phoenix Patrol. Phoenix Patrol, is that it? Phoenix Command, is that it? Nope, Phoenix Command, that's not it. I know exactly what game you're talking about. And the entire idea is that you're supposed to die, you're going to come back, but the more stuff you do, the better you're going to get. I remember it exactly. And I am having a fucking stroke trying to remember what it was. It was Phoenix something. Phoenix Force? Like, okay, I'm not going insane then. Phoenix Force is not it. It is not it. That is incorrect. TTRPG where you die a lot, where you die and come back to life stronger. First thing is fucking Outward. I hate Outward. Let's see. Apocalypse World. Oh my god. Fantasy Craft, Tenra Bench of Zero. Tenra is weird. I like Tenra. Tenra's a bitch to go over because it's like 17 gorillion fucking pages. What is it? What is it? It's gonna... Ah, that's annoying. That's really annoying. Phoenix Dawn Command, that's it. I knew it was Phoenix Command something. I knew it. I'm like, what is it? Yeah, Phoenix Dawn Command, this is it. Yeah, Phoenix Dawn Command had similar mechanics here. It had its own issues. Like, it had its own issues last time I remember. But yeah, death is always weird. Death is always weird in TTRPGs, because on one hand, not a single person likes to lose a character. And I talked about this a little bit in the SPRUG actually. SPRUG number 1, which you can download off of Drive-Thru RPG. Just Google SPRUG Workshop Drive-Thru RPG. It'll be the first one there. Mwah. Ciao. But one of the big things in what I wrote there was the idea that people put a little bit of themselves in their characters. We all do. It's kind of that unavoidable fact of life, is that we put time and effort, and if you spend 20 hours playing a character and you're having fun with it, and then they just die randomly, it's like, oh, well, it doesn't feel very good. You're like, oh, well, I've lost a lot of investment. It's what I put in there is like, either my idea was you have to give them a coin to the boatman, which is the kind of say, you died, however, here's a bonus, here's something for you. Thank you for your investment in this character. You've done something good. And specifically, that was for Iron Caskets, which is all about dying, because that's the way that you technically level up. You level up the regiment, which makes all future tank commanders better. That's going to be the hard part with this one, because you're going to need to do it. Which is, I have a few ideas. I'm going to have to consult. There is actually what I should put up here is the official JTRPG Dark Souls RPG. Not the official Steamforged one, the official JTRPG version by Group SNE, which he would probably steal liberally from. That one is actually pretty interesting because it has this pretty much the concept of like memories, I believe that's what they call. Which is every time you die, you lose, like, you begin play with like 3 memories. And every time you die, you reiterate what those memories are, and you lose them. When you reach 0 memories, the character is removed. They've gone hollow. I will probably abuse that. Will there be a mechanic in there that's pretty much just that with the serial numbers filed off? Yes. But I want to do something different with it, because at the end of the day, this is not going to be necessarily a Dark Souls setting. It's going to be Dragon Quest Berserk RPG. Actually, it's going to be the Berserk Dragon Quest RPG that you never knew you needed. That's what's going to be. This is the kind of the idea. Here's Golden Age arc, but we have complete Dragon Quest logic behind things. It's heroes, everyone's being happy, everything's great, but things are also very wrong. Not good. There's actually, I believe it's Noble Dark, I believe is the term for it. Yeah, Noble Dark-esque would be the correct one for it. Kind of the idea of things are wrong, but there's hope and we can do this. And that's kind of the idea what I want to go in there. You're not the heroes. The hero is gone. Sorry, everybody. The hero is left. You're the side characters desperately trying to make sure that that you've won effectively. You know, you're going to try your best to make sure that this world, which may have been abandoned by the hero, or maybe the hero lost, but his sacrifice isn't in vain. That's my thinking anyway. I can clean this up a little bit more and kind of go into it a smidge better. Because what we're effectively going to be doing is we're going to be making this version. We're going to be making an unofficial 4th edition and a translation by me. We're going to be translating and doing a game that doesn't exist and bringing it over stateside as the 4th edition by a Japanese man who doesn't exist. Welcome to thematic over anything. Yeah, that's my idea there. Where is we need do and we need to put this down. We'll put you like right here. Yeah, also someone asked me the other day, be like, why is Miro so small? This isn't very big at all. Like there's actually quite a bit of room here that you can do a lot of stuff in. I like to keep everything very compact like this to kind of give me the idea of like, hey, everything is fit within this, or like everything can try to like fit there, to kind of squish my thoughts down more than anything. That's why. And Miro, all I'm saying, give me a sponsorship. I'll do anything. This level of mental gymnastics I was not prepared for in a TTRPG discussion. Yeah, no, it's because of, like, the entire reason I started, like I wanted to say I want to do a really hardcore thematic games. It's because I kind of felt like during Blade and Cross, I felt like I was just kind of like reiterating on things I had already done, and I kind of felt that way before, and it was like, yeah, I know it's kind of in the same world and the same ideas, but I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. And I started the SPRUG workshop. I started doing all this because I wanted to make new things. I wanted to see things I had not seen before. Okay, guys, we're making games. So what you do is become a Japanese dude in the 80s. Oh no. I need, like, the best way to think about Kenji over here, Kenji is like kind of a mental pop-off point. It's my way of thinking, not what would Notepad add-on do, it's what would Kenji Oyumi do? Would he want to do this? No, he would think this is a terrible fucking idea because he loves Sword World and that's the game he's going to base everything off. He's a boomer. Like, this is the thing, this is the right way of doing things. Scrap everything I've been doing, think like Kenji. That's literally what it's going to be, is think like a fictional Japanese man in his 40s. I'm not insane, you're insane. Worst part is I'm not even drunk or anything. I thought of all of this on a walk downtown the other day. I was taking my walk, I was enjoying my time, and I thought to myself, I need something to bounce off of. So I made a fictional person, and that's where we are. I'm not crazy, you are. Sometimes little note lore here. Sometimes I do that when it comes to like really creative endeavors, is that I'll do like me's gonna think one way. I need someone to kind of put my mind into and bounce off of. Less in the lines of like, I think this is the right way of doing things, but this person probably isn't gonna think that way. And I gotta go follow them. That's how I wrote my porn novel. My cyberpunk erotica novel, which you can buy for right now for $60.69 on Amazon. Let's see. Okay, so we need to do Project Sidewinder. Now, for those who don't know, Sidewinders are I believe, an air-to-air. It's like a Sidewinder's on air-to-air. Yeah. An AIM-9 Sidewinder, which is an air intercept missile. These things are... We're going to blow up things. These things are pretty old, relatively speaking. I wonder if are they still in use? Current operators are in the countries we don't talk about, and the US. So yeah, they're still in use. This is not definitive. You know it's always bad when you see South Vietnam. It's like, oh, yeah, it's North Yemen. Like, yeah, no, you know these are older. Yeah, you know these are older. Now, the beautiful thing about giant planes... About what? Yeah, right here. Dreaming in slow motion. It's right here. I wrote it as a... Technically, I am number 3,835,938 in the Kindle store. Let's see, it's 160 pages. I need to go through this and fix some things. Like, yeah, no, this is my book. To my sweet muse, this is as much as your mistake as it is mine. Yeah, no, it's my full-on cyberpunk erotic fiction. Yeah. It's like you haven't written a porn novel before. You need Jesus. There's a good reason why I wrote that. And the answer, the answer for why I wrote it is very simple. Because I fucking could. Do you have a Kindle novel out for cyberpunk erotic fiction? I don't think so. Yeah, no. Ironside, I can't believe you don't know about this. Like... Yeah, no, it was literally... It started off just like a series of like little one-off things. Because I got bored and wanted to do some more writing. Can I commission you to write an ANCAP cat femboy erotic novel? I will tell you that it will get very philosophical halfway through. Like, it's going to get philosophical. I'm not going to lie. Half that book is not actually about pornography at all. It's quite literally about the theory of why we're alive. Like, what's the point of living if everything is shit? Finally. See, this is the best part about being these kind of streams, is that nothing makes sense, and I can just post whatever, I can just do whatever I want, because there's literally no sense of right or wrong. Worst part is, this is literally what I would write, except it would be a lot more theoretical. I hope you all know. This is what you would get. Which... like, the second I looked at this, like, oh, this could actually be kind of interesting. But the second I saw, oh, you should check out Catgirl. It's my debut webcomic, and it's about an incel who gets a genetically engineered super companion and their toxic codependent relationship. I have a strange feeling this is not going to look good. There is actually some detailed things you could talk about the nature of markets and the nature of people and how things go wrong. However, I do not believe this is it. I do not believe this is going to be it. Because the see, here's the thing. Communism is the best thing on paper. Yeah, we're having politics discussion now. Yeah, communism is the greatest fucking philosophy, greatest fucking economic system on paper. The problem is, there's one problem with communism. There's one singular problem. You need human beings to do it. And human beings are selfish bastards who will do anything to get ahead. And it's kind of like one of those things, like if you honestly believe that human beings are good and that everyone will start working along and will be friendly together, then communism's gonna work. No, it's like if you honestly pitch it, if you pitch it to everybody, be like, it's a society run by the workers. Everyone works together, everyone is happy, and everything is pre-planned and everything is provided for you. Texas. Exactly. Now, mind you, one of the issues too, Ironside, I'm going to say this as well, is that, see, it all comes back down, Sidewinders about the Cold War. One of the big things as well is that there is what I would like to call actual communism, i.e. the systems of government which have been employed and the systems of economics which have been employed, and then there's meme communism. Meme communism is the best. It's the greatest system of government and everything ever devised by human beings. Unfortunately, meme communism doesn't exist. Meme communism is a fundamentally impossible thing that will never happen. Actual communism has been employed multiple times, in fact, and usually ends with someone getting put behind a wall and shot. There's a very long and complicated discussion I could go over with, which what I need to do is I need to get as many Europeans as possible and just make them send me questions. Send me questions for what I'm going to dub just the American stream. And what I want to do is I want to have a full stream of me answering pretty much a Q&A. I'm like, why is America the way it is? And I want to answer all these European questions. Because I get sometimes being like, man, why is America, like, why don't you guys have free healthcare? Being like, do you want the long answer or do you want the really simple version? Because the long answer, we got to go back to 1922, baby. Like, we got to go far back. That would be my stream idea. I would get banned off Twitch forever. It would be great. how Notepad got banned off Twitter. He was a gamer. But yeah, okay, so Project Sidewinder is fundamentally going to be what I'm going to call it an arcadey jet game. Now, I'm specifically putting down arcadey jet game because I don't want it to be like super hardcore, because I don't think super hardcore, even in the idea of like thematics, would be fun. Because you want to know what actual jet fighter people do. Actually, like how many jet sorties? Like, I think the best way to say it is, and that's kind of the thing with a lot of like war games in general. Yeah, well, there is the idea of, if we're taking like Microsoft Flight Simulator to be the absolute, biggest, one of the problems with like a lot of like war games in general is that war is boring. I don't think people quite understand how fucking slow and boring and monotonous an actual war is. Mostly modern wars. Mostly because it's automated. It's What are we going to do with these people? We're going to carpet bomb them. There's going to be nothing left. I remember talking with a few of my friends who served in like Afghanistan and Iraq and all that. They didn't do much. They drove, they encountered, there was no enemies, there was no things. It was 4 years of nothing. Not much happened. But they knew people who were in fights, they knew people doing things, and they knew they were part of the system. That if without them, supplies wouldn't have reached these people, and without those supplies, the people fighting wouldn't have gotten food, wouldn't have gotten ammo. War is logistics. War is very boring because of that. Actual, like, day-to-day activities are not actually that fascinating. Simply because there just isn't much to do. Because, like, yeah, I'm a trained jet fighter. Being like, yeah, you don't do much, actually. Like, US jet fighters are important. Guys who are trained to be jet guys, they are important. They do stuff every now and again. But they're not like, we're going to, like, battle every other. That's not a thing that occurs. Like, that's not, yeah, that doesn't happen. Simply because it's not possible. It just isn't a thing that really, like, actively, like, two with the AKs at least. Yeah, and even like infantry war. I kind of talked about this a little bit with Boots in Mud, which is kind of the idea like infantry war is at first holding ground. A plane cannot take a town. A plane cannot sit in a town and make sure they're happy. That's not possible. You have to have boots in the ground. Those are what you're doing. But actual, like, we're even seeing this in Ukraine currently. Like, actual, like, infantry scale warfare is a mess. Because it's sitting in foxholes, taking pot shots at things way over there that might be there. And, or like, oh no, there's the enemy, get the giant explosive javelin and shove it up their rear exhaust port. Exactly, or you just bum the shit out of it so, like, no one can hold it, i.e. Vietnam. Exactly, so it's kind of like this messy thing that nobody wants to do. However, I'm going to present you a franchise that does this really well. Welcome to Ace Combat. Because you want to know what Ace Combat's about? Ace Combat is about very dramatic plane people going on melodramatic plane adventures. All while, you know, dramatically trying to fucking shoot each other down. And you can... I'm surprised not a single human being caught on to the flamenco music when I was said that. Because it was just a reference to the Balkan War. The entire plot of Ace Combat usually boils down to extreme fighter pilots win the war. Because they are so impossibly cool that they just win it. And it's... yeah, you bomb some targets, but it's mostly like, oh god, you know, flick open being like, I gotta fight these guys one-on-one. Melodramatic plane journeys. Like, at the end of the day, like, this is literally, like, it's going to be... like, that is literally what this is going to be. Because it's not, like, one thing I want to get across is that, like, I want to get, like, you know, obviously it's like, I want planes to feel, you know, planes to feel interesting, and then obviously I want things like dogfights and, you know, like, missions to actually happen. That's what I want. I want those to feel still good, but I fundamentally know that people are going to want to do it because they want to do, what was the, what's the fucking mission? I never forget them. I never remember the mission. Cold War. They want Cold War. Because Cold War in Project Wingman is this mission. It is the mission where the entire Cascadian Air Force and the entire United Nations Air Force clash in a single area and everyone starts fighting. It is an insane spectacle of, vapor trails and missiles. It's insane. It's nuts. It's something that does not physically occur. Because that would be insane. But who the fuck cares? God, Porco Rosso. Like, after a bit, I actually thought about it with Wild Skies, and I realized Wild Skies was pretty much just Porco Rosso. Like, there's actually a game that kind of does stuff like that. It kind of has its own thing. Like, roughly speaking, I don't know. I can either do like either I can do a strange reel setting, or we can kind of do what I'm going to call it drama Earth. Kind of strange reel. Fun fact for those who don't know, strange reel is actually the name of the world of Ace Combat. It has an actual setting name, and it's called Strange Reel. And sometimes to me anyway, what I do is when I refer to a setting that is Earth but different, it's a Strange Reel setting, because I always find that fun. It makes a lot of sense to me. Just like, yeah, it's strange, but it's also completely realistic. Instead of like, oh no, it's the Germans. It's, god damn it, those Belkin bastards. They have another super weapon out. Or Drama Earth. Drama Earth is very simple. It's just really fucking dramatic Earth. Everything goes up to about 250%. It's like, this is, normal people don't act this way. People on Drama Earth, however, do. James Bond lives on Drama Earth. It's the same thing, all the same people. It's just that occasionally a single super agent's gonna save the day. Like, everyone knows this and everyone's okay with it. Everyone has accepted the fact that this is okay. Now, this also brings me down to, military or PMC. Both of these have a very different connotation to them, even though they are very similar. It's military is you have to deal with kind of more of the, pretty much, are we dealing with like military fiction, or are we dealing with more, how do I want to say this, mercenary fiction would be a good one. Because easy answer is go with mercenary fiction. That's the easy answer. It is to say, you are literally a private mercenary company. You have entered this war as a third party. Time to do some missions. Let's go, fly boys. Military fiction would be a little bit different. That's effectively Top Gun. Do we want to do Top Gun or do we want to do Ace Combat? Very different, very similar at the same time. It's like, because mercenary fiction, you don't really have to deal with like commanding officers as much. But military fiction, you have that structure. So it's kind of that, do you want structure or do you want kind of the more wacky wahoo pizza man adventure? Do you want to have Dante from Devil May Cry showing up in a fighter plane, or do you want a lot more kind of realistic structure? I'm gonna say, I wouldn't say super realistic, but like dramatic military fiction realistic. Now, pilot-wise, I want pilots to feel very important, because that's who you're going to be playing as. No, this isn't going to be like Mercenary Air Squadron, where your characters don't really mean that much, because you're playing a Mercenary Air Squadron. Yeah, and trust me, that does have some appeal. That kind of very, how how do I, the very structured military style does have appeal, because you kind of know exactly what's going on at all times, and you have a very good reason to kind of keep the party together. And it also has some fiction beats that you can do you can't do very well with other things. It's like, yeah, like Gundam, for example. Gundam is at its core a military science fiction series. Yeah, Macross is a military science fiction series. Kind of having to deal with some of those grander issues does have some... It's nice to have structure sometimes. And it's nice to say, this is this. Mercenaries are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And everyone agrees, and you as the GM want to kill yourself. Like, and you want to die. Both have their appeals. I probably would lean more toward mercenary fiction if I choose to kind of go strictly. With pilot skill wise is I would want pilots are important. And heavily pilots are important and heavily skilled, and we want to make sure that people understand that pilots yeah. Because I want things to feel deadly, because jet fighting is actually very fucking deadly. With all the stuff grew up with, can't think of PMC without thinking of Metal Gear. The memes, K9, you don't understand. Gundam at its core is a melodramatic series about teenagers dealing with puberty and whining a lot. Yeah, pretty much. Hell, why do you think Shinji is the way that he is? It's a... Gundam is fascinating. I like Gundam, but I understand that when people complain about it. Let's see. Pilots are still able to get a missile to the face. Because, like, the big thing is, I don't want the PCs to be like these immortal demigods. It's like, yeah, if you fuck up, you're gonna fucking die. What I am going to do is put... Yeah, abstract combat map. I might literally put like a danger zone. I might quite literally put in a mechanic called danger zone in there, simply to make it so that people understand, like, hey, you're in the danger zone currently. You take a missile, you're probably fucked. Or like, hey, you want to go, you know, sicko mode. You're gonna get a bunch of bonuses, but you're going to be in the danger zone. Again, a little bit more abstract than anything. Sidewinder is going to be an interesting one. I have the ideas. Everything is there. Yeah, combat maps. Yes. Most likely, what it'll be is something akin to kind of steal a little bit from Warbirds, but something similar to, like, again, a very abstract map like this, where it's less about like direct positioning or anything, but it's like, I'm here in the, you know, in the rear, but if I move up here, I'm gonna be close to whiskey danger over here. It's kind of very abstract combat in that regard, simply because that going super... I'll give you a secret. Anytime you have any character or any like thing in game design where the characters are going super fast, or when you're dealing with a lot of Z levels, go for an abstract map. Abstraction is going to be the thing that is going to save you. Yeah, it's more, again, it's going to be fairly abstract and relative. Because, like, literally just because if you don't do that, I'm going to pop a blood vessel trying to organize everything. Now, people have suggested that you can do it, like, on a battle map, by playing, where was it? It was it Missile Command? No, it's don't drive me nuts. Ace Combat. Ace Combat. Is it? No, that's a fucking BK thread. There we go. It was, yeah, Missile Threat. People propose just playing Missile, literally just playing Missile Threat, which is all about that. Which is all about jet fighters and such, with like tracking all the missiles and stuff like that. That was one suggestion. Then it was like Warbirds. Yeah, there's also like things like Aces and Eights. Ace of Aces, which is literally a game book. Like, it's a very Warboards. Yeah, it's Missile Threat. It's an odd. When I said like this is an aspect that is not really touched upon, because World War II planes are a lot more fun than jet planes. Like, they're just infinitely more entertaining. But like, yeah, Warbirds is the big one. I actually did a review of Mercenary Air Squadron. I love Mercenary Air Squadron. I think it's ridiculous. And I think everyone should play it because it's nuts and just Kino. It's fucking Kino. However, I will be the first one to say it is not a tabletop role-playing game. You can pretend it is not. It is really, really not one. It is very much its own thing, and trying to fit it into making it like a strict TTRPG, I don't think it'd work. Yeah, again, it's like World War II planes, like, there's a certain degree of, I wouldn't say nostalgia, but like just kind of the way they look, kind of the way they fly. You know, you have things like, oh, it's the Spitfire. Oh no, everyone get down. It's the Jerrys, it's the Fokkers. Oh no. You know, it's, you know, Wildcats and stuff like that. It feels very good. It's like, oh, this is cool, you know. And the thing is, pilots back then were heroic in a way. They were flyboys, mostly when you get in things like Battle of Britain, things like that. Jet planes, on the other hand, yeah, no, you're going real fucking fast, and because you're going real fast, and it's so explosive, because missiles are really boring. Like, people, it's like, oh boy, I got hit by a missile. I guess I'm dead. Like, I'm just dead now, because that's what happens when you get hit by a missile in a jet plane. You explode and everyone dies. Because that's what happens. Like, but yeah, like, this is my, actually, that is kind of like my idea behind Sidewinder. I need to get a little bit more detail into it, obviously, but this is, again, preliminary of the preliminaries. Once I get a little bit more detail on things, I'll feel a little bit more confident. And now our final one, which is this one's going to be pretty fucking easy. I'm not gonna lie. Which is literally, I'm literally just gonna say it's gonna be a redux. I usually don't even go over reduxes here, but it's pretty much like my main goals, which is like I want to add some more stuff, add more things, add more styles, clean. That's what I need to do. Because Pojedynja Kobiet is done. Yeah, that's like that's one of the big things. Pojedynja Kobiet is actually done. This game, I wrote it as a game jam. It is a game, and it's actually published. I have a PDF of it right here. Everything is right here. 3rd anniversary game jam. I actually won best concept and runner-up for best mechanics. Yay, so go me. I'm successful. Like, everything is set up the exact way I would want it. Which is, yeah. Things like, I want to get, like, court interactions. I want to flesh this system out a little bit more. I want to flesh out the dueling law a little bit more. I would like to I would like to add in a few more of these, because I realized that I didn't really put in Hungarians in the Austro-Hungarian Empire thing. We have the Uruks, the Kosin. Technically, the Kosinites were kind of their own. Yeah, they were kind of their own thing. The Bulan, if I remember correctly. Yeah, these are the Bulgarians. These are the Balkans. No, these are the Baltics. Yeah, these are the Baltics. These were Cossacks. The White Kosin were supposed to be somewhat described as... They were Hungarian Cossacks. Sort of Uruks were their own thing. Pan-Uruks, like... Yeah, like, I need to fix up the ethnic tie system a little bit. Kind of do what the arts are a little bit better. It's just a lot of little stuff with this one. Hello, Jesus. I'm gonna missay your name here, but Spunkius. Hello, Spunkius. We're just going through things right now. Here's Project Sidewinder. I should actually hit this button first. This is Project Sidewinder. The last bit of democracy occurred, and the 3 games that got selected were I Can't Believe It's Not Ace Combat, fixing up an old game about fencing, and How to Make Dark Souls a tabletop game, which slowly erupted into how Notepad built his own tulpa. Yeah, this is pretty much what we were going over, just little stuff that, yeah, make sure things are in place more than anything. One of the games that we're doing a redux of, Dark Souls tabletop, I want to see that. Well, the thing is, I needed to take a different approach, because Dark Souls tabletop does not actually work, in my opinion. I believe, personally, you cannot port Dark Souls 1-for-1 to the table. So instead, I went back to 1995 and LARPed as a Japanese salaryman as he built a Kingsfield-inspired game, which we will be doing the unofficial 4th edition for. That is the, that is how it's going to be, which is effectively going to be Dragon Quest as written by Miria. Freight Fag doesn't actually exist. He's Notepad gay Hispanic headmate. Unfortunately, you all live rent-free in my mind. Remember that. Why don't you pay rent finally? Pay rent! But yeah, no, that's pretty much everything. Like, it's a pretty, like... I'm gonna say it's a fairly a clean assortment of stuff that we need to do. It's just everything together is like, how do you put this together? How do you put this together? And it's like, oh God, why aren't you working? Ah, screaming noises. Why aren't you doing the thing I want you to do? The only other big thing that I'll probably do today, if I pull it up correctly, is we need to do Curious Case. You came in right at the end. Unfortunately, there's Spunk. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yeah, we're going to be going over a few games this weekend, including we have Bunnies and Burrows, Gunplay and Cavalry. I'm going to give you a secret about Cavalry and Napoleonics. Remember, Cavalry is about fast, it's hitting, and it's dealing with other cavalry. It's a weird rock, paper, scissors, except it's rock, paper, scissors, and someone brought a fucking gun to it because that's artillery. Artillery beats everything. But if you can find it, I would say try to find the Powder Mage book, because they actually have like a legit Powder Mage RPG out, which is weird to me. Where are you? Like, if you never heard of Powder Mage, by the way, it's pretty much just Magic Napoleonics. Powder Mage, TTRPG. Yeah, like, it's right here. It's a Savage Worlds book. So if you're looking for just like raw information, it wouldn't be the worst thing to consult. Napoleonic games, or like in general, very weird. There are not that many at all. Like when I wrote mine, it was like I am basing this off of fucking war games more than anything. It's a mess. See, people keep saying that I should read the books. Like, oh, the books are so great. The books are so great. And I was always like, this seems interesting, but I'm like, is it really like would I really get? Like, am I really gonna like want to read all of it? That's my thing. I don't know. I'm feeling confident about all of them. That's all I can really hope for. Turn off ads. Read the first 3, then sequel. Yeah. See, what I should do is one of these days embrace my inner life of being a booktuber and just do an entire rant stream where I shit talk the Metro series. I have opinions on the Metro series because I fucking hate those books. I hate them so much. They anger Notepad. Here's the weird thing. Metro, the video games, fucking good. Yeah, Metro 2033, 2034, and 2035. The books suck. The games, Kino. First 2 games, never played the third. Third one seemed a little... Third one felt like it was jumping the shark a little bit. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Fucking, the books anger me. Angry Notepad. Have I read Roadside Picnic? I've read Roadside Picnic 4 times. One of my favorite fucking books are the books based on the game. Other way around. The game is based on the books. It is very fascinating. It is very fascinating what the games changed from the books in Metro. And I would have to go over that. Maybe that's what I'll do this Sunday. Just fucking rant about the Metro books and just like drunken rage. See, I have to hate everything Russian now. Twitter said I do, so I can officially do it. Yeah, like Roadside Picnic. Yeah, I played the first 2. First 2 worked great. Like The Witcher, read the first few books of The Witcher. I like The Witcher. It's a fun series. But see, it's funny because I read The Witcher first and then I read Elric. It's like, I understand what people mean by like, The Witcher is pretty much just Elric. And it's like, yeah, Geralt is literally just Elric. However, I like Geralt as a character. I think he's fun. I like the world that's been crafted. Elric felt like a very different, how do I want to say, higher-minded fantasy than The Witcher. And I like both for different reasons. Elric is just an asshole, and I love him for it. Moonglum is my boy, though. Moonglum saves lives. But, like, there's a few books, like in Roadside Picnic. I love that book. It's one of those books you can constantly reread. I would say, like, my absolute favorite book, and this is I'm going to come off as like a fucking teenage girl. Teenage fucking girl when I say this. The Great Gatsby. One of my favorite books. Adore that book. But I kind of read it at a good time. You know, I've reread it over time. You notice new things every time you reread it. It's like, okay. It's good. Yeah, no, it's like, people are always like, oh, well, you just like it because of the movie. I'm like, no, not really. I like it just because, like, I read it at the right time. I had the right English teacher who was reading it kind of with us. And I was kind of reading it all different time. It was like, I'm having fun with this. This is something that I enjoy and I would like others to experience. Do I like the movie? It's a Baz Luhrmann movie. I am mixed on it. I like the look of it. I like the aesthetics. Everything was drafted right. I think some of the music was weird. Some of the pacing was weird in that movie too. Like, I'm mixed on that, but it was like, it worked. I liked it. But yeah, booktuber stream. Yeah, no, don't worry, everybody. I'm secretly just a fucking book nerd. Speaking about books, this weekend I'm going to be going over some more games. The second part of the month of apparently of animals, as you all wanted. One of the games we're going to be going over is Bunnies and Burrows, because Bunnies and Burrows is a very fascinating game. It's actually a very old game, you know, surprisingly, though this version is going to be pumped out by Frog God Games. I've heard good things about Frog God. I like them quite a bit. We're going to have to go over Cat by the infamous John Wick, which will be fun because Cat's a weird thing. Dinosaur stories. Hyborian mice, because people keep recommending that I look at this. Though this one very close, almost got folded into Game About Rats. You fuckers do not know how many goddamn games there are about being rats or mice. It's insane. It's a dog's life. One of the strangest fucking games I've ever read. I adore it. It's like, why does this exist? And finally, Tales from the Wood, which is one that same guy, my Simon Washburn. You just look at it, you're like, what the fuck? And it's like, all right, cool. I'm in. I'm invested. There might be another one depending on how that pans out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Lovecraft books. Lovecraft is an interesting writer. I enjoy Lovecraft's works. I think he definitely knows, but you have to understand his era. And you have to understand who Lovecraft was as a person, and Lovecraft was a weird dude. Lovecraft was a weird dude even of his time. Not even like oh no, spooky tentacle monsters. No, he was just a weird fucking dude. Like, Lovecraft was a fascinating duck. He's the kind of person that you're like, what in the goddamn, holy shit. Like, Lovecraft, get help. Like, you don't understand ancient Chinese mystery. No, Lovecraft. Go to the mental hospital, please. Bundle of issues given humanoid form. Yeah, that sums up Lovecraft pretty accurately. But you can say that like even you can say that of a few people. Like just like, oh Lovecraft, you weirdo. You beautiful disaster area of a human being. But yeah, that is it for today. Thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be working on the Draco Rouge video. That'll come out on Wednesday, hopefully. That video is going to be weird, because Draco Rouge is a weird game to go over. Wednesday, going to be streaming the preliminaries specifically for Midnight Anima, kind of fleshing out some of the basic mechanics and basic ideas. Friday, depending on how I'm feeling, I may delay Midnight Anima to next Monday. Depending on how I'm feeling, and I may work on like this Metal Saviors or something for that. Just because starting a project on a Friday is always weird for me. Things always get wonky anytime I do that. So I might delay on that one. But yeah, it's going to be not Metal Saviors. It's going to be Midnight Anima, or whatever the fuck I think about calling it. I really don't know. And kind of continuing from there, that'll be the first one. From there, yeah, Saturday we have the Curious Case of games where you literally play animals. That's gonna be a weird one, because you do not understand how little games there are of such a very unique premise. And there's a reason it's on my list to do, to make one, but I'm trying to find the ideal animal to base it off of, which is a lot harder than you think. So, thank you all, Godspeed, good luck, catch you all on Wednesday. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I am, as they say, away.